Hey, hi. Thanks for coming here, Paul. It's been a pleasure welcoming you to Web3 Wisdom Podcast, powered by BitsCrunch. We have been crunching a lot of data, crunching a lot of thoughts with some amazing guests in the past. So we had Yat Siu, founder and chairman of Animoca Brands, Sandy Carter in the previous episodes, and then a few more coming up lined up, which you will get to know shortly. But then I'm really proud and happy to invite Paul here, who is the CFO of Cointelegraph, one of the best media outlets in the blockchain space. So, stage is yours, Paul.
Hi, Vijay. Thanks for having me, and happy to be here. Thanks for inviting.
Yep. So how do you see the market? I mean, we have been through a tough phase for the last few months. I would say even a year, more than a year. How do you see the whole scenario changing? Are you expecting some great things to happen in blockchain in general? I mean the protocols. Are you seeing a lot of developments happening? So what's your thoughts on the market?
Yeah, it has been very interesting recently. I always look at like the cycles in a funny way. I think that's like scientifically we don't have enough data to support the thesis and to come to a reasonable conclusion that the next bull cycle is kind of guaranteed. So we don't know that. We've just seen three bull runs. It's not enough to provide any technical analysis for that. And so I often look at it as more like uh, a you know how inflation can be a self-fulfilling expectation for people to spend money. Our expectation of the bull run can be self-fulfilling expectation for investors to invest into Bitcoin. So often I think that markets are being irrational, and I think that something that we regard as fundamental can be an irrational expectation of the investors. And the most difficult step for investor to take is to come to a conclusion whether am I being rational now, or is it the self-fulfilling expectation of the market that I'm following. And those people who succeed in answering this question correctly, they normally become more successful investors than the other one. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at fundamentals and trying to see whether we have anything that has fundamentally changed to provide this change in the market prices. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And for this particular case, of course, everyone's looking at the ETF and the halving, and I'm sure they will have some impact, but I'm not sure that they will be like um, that they can guarantee any sort of a bull market. So I wouldn't be surprised if the bull market can start like towards the end of next year. It can be
Mm-hmm.
beginning of the year, but given the lack of data, the historical data, and this self-fulfilling expectation of investors, we can't say anything
Yeah.
for sure. So I'm always cautious and conservative. And what I like to say is that we need to learn to live in the bear markets, and
Mm-hmm.
when we learn to live in the bear markets and build sustainable products in the during the bear markets, the bull market will come eventually.
I mean, that's a great thought. Learn to live in the beer cycles. Survival of the fittest is right. Is one of the famous sayings. I mean, since the market is picking up nicely, I started right away with the market question, but then I would roll back and ask you about your journey. I mean, you started as I mean, you worked as an auditor at PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the big fours in the world, and from there to becoming a CFO of Cointelegraph, one of the top media outlets in the blockchain space. How is this journey? I mean, maybe you can walk us through your journey.
Yeah, sure. So I have a background in traditional finance and investors. So I started at PwC when I did financial audit and consulting. Then I worked as a CFO in a couple of media companies and on the investment sides in some venture companies that were investing in media assets. So I did have like a natural financial background that would fit to a media company, which Cointelegraph is. And I completely accidentally bumped into the team of Cointelegraph, who were looking for someone who can leverage their investment experience and venture experience at Cointelegraph larger ecosystems, because they had the team at the time had very many ideas about new products, new ventures, new revenue streams, and so on and so on. And uh, it just happened so that I was interested in new opportunities at that stage, and Web3 was something relatively new to me. So I did follow some stuff on fintech and digital assets, but wasn't fully into it. And then I like the team. I like the idea to explore a new industry. And now I'm here. I think I'm relatively fresh. So I think it's around 3, maybe 4-ish years now. So I'm leveraging my past traditional experience in finance and in investments and bringing it here into Web3 and Web3 media, especially. So yeah, that's very briefly my journey. So I'm not even more like a CFO role at Cointelegraph. I'm more dealing with the investment sides and also new business streams. So whenever we want to come up with a new idea or like a new venture or a new product, I look at it and try to make sure that it happens. And and the accelerator is one of the projects that I'm leading.
Okay. I mean, since you said 3 to 4 years, 3 to 4 years, trust me, Paul, it's a lot of time in crypto. We have been building BitScreens for the last 2 years, and we feel that it's already half a decade, to be honest with you. And I'm really glad for you that you stumbled upon such an amazing team. And since you touched upon Cointelegraph Accelerator program, I would also would like to say BitScrunch being one of the OGs in the program. We were one of the earliest uh, partners of the accelerator, through which we got a lot of support from the team in terms of connections, in terms of media support, in terms of uh, marketing campaigns. So maybe you can elaborate on that a bit, and tell a lot of other startups, a lot of other founders who are trying to build it in this space, maybe what is in store in the program.
Sure. So just the genesis of the program lies in the previous bull market. So if you look at the number of deals and the value of investments that went through the larger crypto ecosystem, it was a drastic change as compared to the previous years. And so all of those projects and all of those investments had great engineering team, but not all of them had great marketing teams. And it was difficult for many of them. It was difficult to explain to a larger audience what their products do, and naturally they were coming to us asking for help in shaping their value proposition and showcasing their products, and so on and so on. And so we did some ad hoc stuff. We helped a couple of companies to do it, but then the number of startups went higher and higher, and we thought, well, if there is a demand for that, why don't we come up with a product for that? And so we started to work with founders, see what they want to get from us to accelerate their growth, and we just shaped the product as we went through their needs. And naturally, we came to several elements that we currently include in the program, and that can help founders in their journey. So the first element is access to our media products, right? So anything that's available in our ecosystem, content, research, advertising space, is available to the participants of the program, so they can choose which products they want, and they can use them in their marketing strategy. So that's the first element. The second element is our marketing expertise that we have built through more than a decade of working in the industry. We basically work with founders and their marketers to help them shape their value propositions, find the target audience, find the target partners, find the right marketing channels, and so on and so on. So this is the advisory piece that our team provides to the founders. The third element is the educational element, something that any other accelerator in the traditional sense would do. So we onboard mentors to the program, and they teach founders on different topics of Web3 startups growth. So they would teach tokenomics, fundraising, go-to-market strategies, and so on and so on. They work in small groups and also follow up individually for particular topics and founders' individual problems. And that's probably the most traditional piece of the accelerator program. And then the fourth element, which is deemed to be the most important from what we hear from the founders, is in relation to our network. Because as I said, being in the center of the industry for more than a decade, we have built a very large network of infrastructure partners, investors, exchanges, market makers, blockchains, and so on and so on. And so that we can just make connections that are required by a particular team very fast and smooth within like 1 or 2 handshakes. And we leverage this network and help the founders meet the right people, the right partners, and just move things faster so that they get faster connection with the investors, market makers, exchanges, and so on and so on. So these are the 4 main pillars of our program currently, but it always develops. So we hear feedback from the founders, what else they need. For example, like currently we're developing a couple of offline events and meetups in different parts of the world. So this is there's a huge demand for that. So it's developing, and we try to adjust to the needs of the founders. And yeah, that's the program content in brief.
Mhm. I mean, one thing that I can say as a user or as a consumer of this accelerator program, we are really happy with what we have been served on the plate. We were been, I mean, I would say we are more than happy because the value that we derived out of the program was top notch. I mean, I really enjoyed the sessions in particular. Some of the teammates were also there. A couple of sessions on security audits from the top firms, like you said, tokenomics, that helped us a lot. So for any founders who are building in this space, who are looking into it, this podcast, listening to this podcast, I would definitely would ask you to explore the accelerator program, and if you wish, I can put you in touch with the team, or you can also get in touch with Pavel over LinkedIn or Twitter. So talking about interesting startups, I mean, we were part of the program, and you have been constantly finding uh, really good ones. I mean, I've seen you pick really good ones, good startups for the accelerator program. So it's not like a free ticket for freebies, free ticket for anybody who is building in the space, but you have a benchmark, right? So what sort of trends or what sort of notable stories and trends you think it is shaping the Web3's future? So what have you spotted in the last couple of years, and which areas are sort of trending in the Web3?
Yeah, so I would normally follow what the majority of people can use in their everyday life. So the use case of crypto in the investment space is kind of it has some shape, right? So we do have some investors who invest in digital assets for speculation, so they want to sell it with profit. But what we don't have is like a products that would be used by a larger audiences. So I personally always follows any trends that can bring millions of people to the larger crypto industry, and it's always difficult to find those. But what I personally have been following is tokenized digital assets. So I'm very interested in how it can be implemented, because it seems very natural how a security can be tokenized, and thus it can be provided to a larger audiences, and especially for those audiences that really need it. So it's not even like larger economies like the US or Europe, because it may not be the most important thing for end users, because they have their financial systems available to them. But in developing countries, so the quick examples being Argentina, for example, and Turkey, where there is high inflation and people are hedging against this inflation by purchasing stable coins when they get their salaries, and then selling those stable coins when they need to buy something because of the high inflation that they get from the paycheck up to the moment when they need to spend their money. And so the actual use case is currently done via stable coins, but we do know that all those stable coins are backed by US treasuries and some yield generating assets. So why don't we give this yield to the users? So currently they don't get it. They get $1 and then they sell $1, and the issuer of the coin gets this yield. So why don't this issuer share this yield with the user, or provide them access to directly to a particular tool? That would have high demand from the users because of the nature of their problem, and also they will get this yield. So any examples like this, whether it's high demand from the real life problem that can be solved by crypto, is always fascinating me. And some other cases are, I personally like the idea of token gated real life events. So like the ticketing systems that can be run on chain, because to me it's very natural to have on chain record of where I've been. It's like a loyalty system on a global scale where I can record all my participation in different real-time events and monetize this in different ways. I can resell it. I can get bonuses from other events, and so on and so on. And then I also like the idea of creator economy, not in a way how many people look at it as an altruism that let's get more value to creators simply because we're just good people. I like the idea of how blockchain can create competitive advantages to those platforms, not like in a altruistic way, as I said, but more in a competitive way, so that they can provide more value to the users and to the creators than the traditional tools. But I'm sure you know how difficult the network's effects are, and we don't know how it's going to unfold. But yeah, if I were to pick trends, that would be the ones that I'm following.
Having great creator economy, RWAs, some of the hot topics that you touched upon, and talking about some political environments in countries like Argentina and Turkey, for instance. What do you think the regulatory framework on top adds pressure, or does it add pressure? Is it required, or at what levels it should be there for better innovation? So what are your thoughts on the regulatory frameworks, Pavel?
Sure. So most of the people would speak about regulation in relation to digital assets, again, only from the perspective of investments, right? So everyone's speaking about, is it token or security or not? So is it going to be run through SEC or not? So everyone's speaking about how investments in digital assets should be regulated, and that's fair enough. I mean, it's a good use case. It has proven to have demand from retail and institutional investors. There's a problem of regulation, and it should be solved. This is just one stream. But we sometimes forget that there are other parts of our life where crypto can be used and that are also regulated. So take payments, for example. Like in most of the countries, a vendor is obliged by law to accept a currency to sell goods. And if you are a vendor in this country, you are obliged to accept this particular currency in this country. And in many countries, it's not possible to accept digital assets as payment for goods, and this could be actually the driver of mass adoption, right? Of course, there are many problems that need to be solved, but I think, well, apart from the investment side, which we can deal with, of course, we need to think about how we can change the regulation so that digital assets can come to our real life. So payments is one of the areas where this can be solved. Another thing is tax. So many people say that the problem with crypto is that people are using it to avoid taxes, and that's the case. Many people get paid and avoid tax payments to do that. But if we had a transparent and tax compliant regulation that would be developed together with tax authorities, they would build infrastructure, both legal and technical, to give people opportunity to use digital assets as payments and pay taxes, right? So if it was integrated with KYC and with tax authorities, that can also bring mass adoption, because people would be using it, and tax authorities wouldn't have much problem with it, because they are aware of how the system works. They have the KYC features in it, and so on and so on. So if we bring all those features and regulation to the ecosystem, that can actually drive adoption of real life use cases.
Rightly said. I mean, I would echo the same as well, because if you look at the regulatory landscape, we shouldn't go to the exact opposite side. Rather, I would say it should go hand in hand, at least to a certain extent, where you think innovation can still be happening, right? I mean, you shouldn't control things from happening, right? Like same with AI. Uh, we all know what happened with AI. OpenAI has been in the bus for the last few weeks, and there were a lot of countries which banned chat GPTs from usage, which is fine in some ways, but you also need to adapt, right? I mean, same with internet. When internet came into picture, people freaked out. When mobile phone came into picture, people freaked out. And now look at things. I mean, this podcast is possible just because we have a very good internet, and then we are connected, even sitting thousand plus kilometers far from each other, right? So we have to embrace innovation in a way that it doesn't hamper or doesn't affect the progress. So with that, we'll just have a couple more questions. I don't want to take you for so long. So what are some exciting things, initiatives coming up from Cointelegraph? Any alphas?
Yeah, so we're working on a couple of new online products in the ecosystem. So I was just trying to find some other ways how we can help our larger audiences. So we're thinking about uh, some tools to connect the employees and the labor markets in Web3, because they're having some problems with layoffs in the industry, and there is high demands on kind of like getting the right opportunities to those people who have spent time in Web3 and have experience in Web3 and are eager to carry on. But as you know, the markets are being difficult, and we're just trying to think about tools how we can help the industry in general to match make those people with the right jobs. So some products are developed in this area. We're also thinking about uh, relaunching our offline events that we used to have back in the day. It used to call Block Show. It was a very large event. When the pandemic had started, we didn't do it, and we haven't done it since the pandemic. And now that it's over, and we're thinking of relaunching it sometime in the future. So that's going to be a big thing as well. Um, yeah, I guess that's probably a couple of things that we're working on. A couple of other minor products, but you'll get to know them shortly.
Good. Thanks for all these interesting updates. I mean, looking forward to the block show. Would love to attend it in 2024. I suppose
Sure.
it will come in 2024. So one last question before move into a little quick fire rapid questions round. So where do you see the industry in 5 years from now? Like just a prediction in terms of growth, in terms of protocols, in terms of volume or transactions happening in the space. Where do you see the industry in 5 years from
um, so I just, if I look at it like from a helicopter view, on like more like a concepts view rather
now?
than product view or protocols view. So what fascinates me is the idea of having, uh, well, people would normally call it democratizing the value transfer. Uh, so the concept that I'm thinking of is that we think we take for granted that we have a right to share information with each other without any intermediaries, right? And it's a relatively new thing. So if you go back a couple of hundred years ago, you didn't have this right of uh, free exchange of information. So uh, there was there were governments who wouldn't allow you to speak freely or talk to other people freely. But now, since the invention of the internet, we take for granted that we have freedom of information exchange with each other. We exchange messages, we exchange emails, we exchange just traditional letters, and so on and so on. And it just seems natural, right? Although it's not that we always had it. And now, when I'm thinking about the next step here in democratizing the way we live, I'm fascinated by the idea of democratizing the value transfer, right? So, for example, if we want to transfer value between one another, currently, with the current infrastructure, we may find some complications. So, we always need intermediaries. So, if I wanted to buy your house or you wanted to buy mine, we have to go to the register, we have to go to the bank, we have to go to the notary, the legal people. So, a lot of intermediaries, although it's just two of us who want to
Mm.
exchange assets. And so I envisage blockchain and crypto at large, how they can help us bring the society to a state where two people can exchange value without any intermediaries. Of course, there are many details. You need to have some sort of a KYC, maybe. But where I want to get to is a state where we can exchange assets freely without intermediaries. And what fascinates me in this industry is that it can actually make this happen, be it non-custodial wallets or on-chain real estate, or it's going to be like an ecosystem of different things. But I want people to be able to exchange value as freely as they exchange messages in WhatsApp currently. So we don't think about it how when we send a message to someone. That this ends again, as I said, we take it for granted as our inherent right. So I would like to have the same thing for value transfer. So I want to sell my apartments as easily as I'm sending a message over Telegram or WhatsApp currently. So that's the future that I want to get to. It's going to take a lot of time to get there, but that's how I that's what my perspective is here.
Wonderful, wonderful, Paul. I mean, this is exactly my gut feel as well. So I would again echo the same thoughts, because as a founder, as a fellow founder, I see a lot of other founders building through tough cycles, through bear cycles, and willing to see glory. And yeah, value transfer, great thought. I wish that it happens soon, pretty soon in the sense in the next few years, 3, 5, 7 years, and not so long. And with that, we move into a few rapid questions, which you could answer, given your 30 minutes of value add to this podcast. So, what's your favorite city, Paul?
I think it's London, so I try to spend as much time here as possible. When I first saw it, I was just amazed and fell in love with it. So yeah, I think it's London.
London, yeah, cool city. London Bridge, always comes to the mind. So, who has been your biggest inspiration outside of Web3? I mean, anybody that you think or inspire from?
Uh, I wouldn't name a particular person, but
Mhm,
who inspires me most is because I talk to like early stage founders every day, and
mhm,
whenever I see a founder who says, "Look, my startup failed," or
mhm.
my second startup failed, or I failed again, I'm going to do a new thing. So all those people who fail and just don't give up and try new things, new ideas, and they with the same energy or even more energy than they had in the past. Uh, that's who give me inspiration. So and a firm belief that we can do great things if we have those people. So I think that's entrepreneurs who build things. That's who inspires me the most.
Salute from an entrepreneur for such an answer, because it's one of the unique answers that I have got for this question. So, thanks for the answers and embracing entrepreneurs like me. Thanks a lot, Paul. And what's your hobby or sort of famous or favorite physical activity or something like that? What do you like to do?
Well, I'm a runner, so I run a lot, almost every day or maybe every other day. I used to play football when I was a kid, and I just that's probably I ski every now and then when I happen to have time to go to the mountains. That's that's pretty much it.
So staying physically fit is also important to staying mentally fit, right?
Oh yeah,
So that's
yeah,
that's the
absolutely, absolutely. That's
intake.
fundamental. Yeah.
So one last question: if not Web3, if not if not that occasion where you stumbled upon Cointelegraph, what would you be doing? Where you would see yourself?
Um, let me expand this a little bit. So
Hmm.
I would say if not finance, what I want to do,
Hmm.
like in a
Hmm.
more like a general space. So like if I was sent back to school and was to select my other profession, uh, you know, so I don't know. I would try something. So I think I'm thinking more about longevity. So I think
Hmm.
it's one of the most important things that we're currently working on as a planet, right? And maybe I would go to like biology or genetics. So some something that can overcome the short length of our lives, or maybe
Hmm.
extend it more and more. I think that's far more important than any democratization of assets,
Yep.
value, information. So probably longevity and genetics, something like that. Yeah.
That's a crazy thought. I mean, there are a lot of researches going on, especially on that particular area. But you're right, because that should be the topmost innovation, right? I mean, if you can
Yeah.
expand your lifetime, then what else, right? We can innovate many more things in the extended life as well. So yeah, thanks again, Paul, for sharing your thoughts on to us, to the listeners of this Web3 Wisdom podcast. It's our honor to have you, and for sure, let's build it together. Any parting thoughts? Any last thoughts that you want to share to the audience?
Well, just let's get through this bear cycle and get to the new heights. Let's keep building.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Cool. Thanks again, and would be great to have you on the show, probably later somewhere down the lane. But yeah, thanks again for sharing your thoughts, Paul. Take care.
yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me. It's a great podcast. Thanks, Vijay.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.